You're listening to today's inspirational message on the Proverbs with Kurt Bjorklund.
Proverbs 30, verse 29 and following gives us the fifth little snippet with numbers as a poem. It says, 3 things are stately in their tread, 4 are stately in their stride. A lion, which is the mightiest among beasts, and does not turn back before any. The strutting rooster, the he-goat, and a king whose army is with him. And so the animals here talk about somebody who walks stately, and so does a king who knows that he has his army with him. And this means, in essence, that there is something noble and beautiful about a sense of confidence. But it also says this, verse 32, in juxtaposition, if you've been foolish, exalting yourself, or if you've been devising evil, put your hand on your mouth, for pressing milk produces curds, pressing the nose produces blood, and pressing anger produces strife. And so there's a juxtaposition here in terms of saying, I have confidence knowing that God is working in my life, and yet at the same time, I am not going to exalt myself or make much of myself. Instead, I am going to be somebody who knows that I have limits, that God is the one who has put me in this stately place. A lion isn't supreme over other creatures because of anything that it did. It's just simply because it's a lion. A strutting rooster gets its strut from the way it was created. The same with the he-goat. And the king with his army may have maneuvered some things to get there, but ultimately it's God who puts us where we are. And so I think that ultimately this proverb is just pointing to this idea of go ahead and live with confidence where you are. God has placed you there, but don't exalt yourself, because exalting yourself shows that you don't really understand what God has done to put you in the place that he has put you. So Proverbs 30, if we return to the earlier portion about knowing who God is and who we are, you see that it talks about not being so full of ourselves, but instead somebody who ultimately trusts God. Verse 5, every word of God proves true. The NIV says it's flawless. It's a shield to those who take refuge in him. Do not add to his words, lest he rebuke you and you be found a liar. Verse 10, do not slander a servant to his master, lest he curse you and you be held guilty. Verse 11, there are those who curse their fathers and do not bless their mothers. There are those who are clean in their own eyes, but who are not washed of their filth. There are those, how lofty are their eyes and how high their eyelids lift. There are those whose teeth are swords and fangs are knives, to devour the poor off the earth and the needy from among mankind. Why all these verses here? Because they point to somebody who's able to understand our true status before God. And that is a dependent creature rather than one whose stateliness is something we've earned. And when that is the way that we understand ourselves, it actually brings incredible freedom and joy, because you're not going through life saying, I'm trying to get more and more of a status, but instead I'm enjoying the status God has given, and I'm not trying to exalt in that in any inordinate way. So today, where can you walk with confidence that God has placed you, gifted you, called you, without believing the lie that somehow you've deserved it, earned it, and therefore exalt yourself?
Thanks for joining us here today. There's a lot of great content to explore on Orchard Hill Plus and on the Orchard Hill main feed from the weekend. Have a great day.